Nice to be back out on the grass with the guys. It's been a while since we've been out here, spring. And you can tell that they've worked hard through the off season with Coach King and on their own to get themselves physically ready to go and mentally ready to go. Something unique about this team, and unlike a lot of teams I've been around, it's just their willingness to do things on their own, away from the staff, away from the organization that we provide them. And it shows up on days like this when you come out on the first day and they jump right into it, and not a lot of mistakes. Certainly a ton of work to do, but just commend our players just for the way they handled themselves this off season and their focus and their commitment, and it showed up today. So off to a decent start. Ton of work to do. Excited to see where we go.
Jim, how much of that working independently was implemented last year by you and your staff, where you just kind of get it rolling in the right direction, and okay, we can walk, we know they're going to be doing X, Y, and Z when we get there?
Well, you guys just talked to Christian and Jackson, and when you have men like that on your team, it only takes a little nudge. Hey, you tell them, hey, the more you guys can do on your own as a team, the tighter the bond's going to be, and you just give them a little nudge like that, and then they take it and they roll. But I think it's really critical to have that. That peer-to-peer accountability is so critical, where they feel a responsibility towards each other as players, and that's the respect that you have to have for each other, and that's what builds the bonds that winning teams have.
What's the difference starting this year versus starting camp last year, where now returning players are familiar with how you run a camp, familiar with you as a person even more?
Well, things run more smooth. As you said, everyone kind of knows where to go, and the young guys, if they just fall in line and they just follow the lead of the guys that have been here before, then it certainly, helps practice move along the right way. And, there's a lot of things we have to do better. A lot of things you have to remind them of every time you come back on the field. Heck, I have to remind myself, where do I go? What do I do? What do I say? But we learn quickly. And, like I said, our players are different kids, man. And they take it so serious, and it's important to them, and you can see it in the way they conduct their business out here.
What's the depth improve? The depth?
The depth? Well, I think that's still to be seen, but, just off of, from just like the look test, we look bigger and more physical, which is a goal, every year to continue to get bigger and more physical and more athletic and faster, and more precise. And, just off the eye test and off of, 1-2 hour practice, it seems like we've upgraded there. But, we've got a lot of room for improvement. And, our goal is to come out every day and max out for that day. And hopefully, that ceiling keeps rising, and we can continue to push the standard up. And I think we have the types of young men that want to do that.
Jim, how do you find the balance between remembering the highs of last year, getting to a bowl game, and the lows of reminding some of the same opponents you're seeing, like NC State, they put a hurting on you, and you want to sort of deliver that back this year?
It's a new year, and I think that most coaches would tell you that you focus on the things you can control. And we can't control last year. We can only control what we do today and going forward. And so, we don't talk about last year. We try to always keep our eyes forward and move forward. I think that you get stuck in a rut if you're always looking backwards. Life moves on, and so we won't watch the NC State game on defense, at least, because it's not applicable. They don't have the same coordinator. They don't have the same quarterback. For me, it's my approach to life, and I think most competitors is it's always about the next challenge, not what happened before.
Coach, Maxwell Award watch list came out not even an hour ago. Victor Rosa not on the list. Is he the best kept secret in college football?
He's our third string running back right now, so I would hope he's not on that list.
He's a big time playmaker though.
He was last year. Yeah. I don't even know what the Maxwell Award is. What is it?
It's a watch list for the top running backs in the nation.
Yeah, well, we got two guys that are ahead of him on the depth chart, so, if they're not on it, he shouldn't be on it.
Who's ahead of him on the depth chart?
Devontae and Bruton.
Jim, where's the quarterback situation? Is it clear cut from day one, or will it play out? Okay, I know. I just
it's anything but clear cut. It's a competition. I think it's a very healthy competition, and I don't want to discount Tucker, the freshman. But between Taquan and Zion and Joe, those are 3 guys that have played college football and have had some success and are all really competitive guys and have all really done a great job this offseason of improving. And you see the improvement and the way they carry themselves and their understanding of the scheme. And, you would like it to become, you'd love it to be clear cut. But hopefully, as we go through the next 2 to 3 weeks, it becomes, more defined for us. But it's not going to be easy because they're all good players, they're all talented kids, they all care, and they all compete like crazy. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Jim, how does the idea of raising the bar, raising the standards this year, how does that manifest itself in your messaging to the team and how you want them to carry themselves?
I think that you have to approach every day with a championship mentality, and nothing's ever good enough. We can't ever be satisfied. We have to keep, like you said, pushing the standard. And when we attain a goal, we have to reset it. When we reach a standard, we have to reset the standard. And I think our guys understand that. It's something you constantly talk about, And you don't do it when you say it's not good enough, you don't say it in a negative way. That wasn't good enough. Hey, it's more like we can be better. This is exciting. Look what we're capable of. If we give a little bit more here, if we concentrate a little bit more there, if we come together a little bit more, look what we can be. So you try to say it in a positive manner so that the message is inspiring rather than we're not good enough, we got to do better. And certainly as a coach, sometimes it comes out, hey, that wasn't good enough. But to me, it's always about not what you're not, but what you are capable of doing. Not what you're not right now, but where can we get? And that's our messaging.
What did you do in the offseason yourself to recharge and kind of get ready for the season and put yourself in a good frame of mind? Not football-wise, but just off the kind of vacation or whatever.
I mean, I go out west and see family, and I go to the mountains. The mountains are where I like to be if I'm not here. So I go to the mountains.
That clears your mind and everything?
I don't know if anything ever clears my mind, but it helps. It certainly helps. Yeah.
How are you feeling about Taquan and his performance in terms of recovering from injury and just even getting up to kind of playing speed?
Well, I think I'm encouraged. He came out here the first day. Really, he did some things in spring, and he didn't show any residual effects from the surgery, the injury. I think he's worked very, very hard. It's a young man who's been through a lot, and you fight for the starting job, and you get hurt in the second series, and you miss the whole season. That's not easy. And then someone comes in and takes your place and leads your team to a bowl game, and then your coaches go out and they bring in a grad transfer or a transfer that's played a lot, and the guy never blinks. He just has a resilience about him. He has a great mindset. I never seen anything bother him. I think the only time I've ever seen him down was that the 24 hours after his injury, and other than that, he's just like I said. He looks forward. You guys ask the kind of questions. He looks forward. And what's the next challenge? And how can I accept that challenge? How can I reach my goals? And it's great to be around people like that. It makes this job fun. It makes it worthwhile.
Jimmy, what are the keys for you for the offense in terms of improving this year compared to last year?
I think that we ran the ball well. We have to get better there, obviously, and become more consistent running the football. But I think that everyone probably knows that just becoming efficient and consistent in our pass game is what's going to help us. I feel like we've added talent and experience and to the receiving room, and I think the tight end room as well. And I believe that the guys that were here have taken a step up. It's good to see Cam Ross back out here and healthy. And I think that the quarterbacks and the work that they did with the receivers in the offseason on their own, I think that'll certainly help us. But staying healthy, running the ball consistently, and then certainly taking a big step up in our pass game.
Jimmy, talking about
here when we talk, first day, but for somebody who probably never really takes a day off, does it feel like first day for you?
We were talking about that during practice. Is that in the old days, and I've been around a while. The first day of practice was different because you would go a long time without seeing your players, and we see them all the time. They're always working, so it doesn't feel like the first day. We said it just feels like the next step. And I think that's exciting. You know, it's we're not restarting. You know, we're just taking the next step as a program and as a team. And it's a different way to look at it for me than what I'm used to looking at it as. So I appreciate our players. Like, I appreciate the work they did in the off season. And you know, my office looks out over the indoor facility, and you know, I'm not allowed to sit there and watch them practice, but I mean, there's a window, right? And so, I mean, I might glance out, and it's very rare that there's not kids out there working. Like, we had guys out there the last few days on their own with their shoulder pads and helmets on, going through drills on their own. And you know, when you're a coach, those are the types of things that inspire you. When you see your team so anxious to get better. And so, yeah, it's just the next step.
Jim, you were talking about the receivers a minute ago, and just having Kashif, you know, back here, working with the guys, watching the energy out here today. Just talk about the element he adds, you know, to your program.
I think he just adds tremendous credibility. He has a passion for UConn and Connecticut football. He's a really good player here. He played in the league. The players respect him. He's very understated. You know, you got to lean in to listen to him. I think that he immediately commanded the respect of that room, and just the workmanlike attitude that they showed today. That's not an easy group to coach sometimes. The DBs and the receivers a lot of time they're kind of like the Ferraris, you know, a little bit high-strung at times, and having a personality like Kashif on offense and Dalton on defense, I think really helps us get work done and not waste energy on things that don't matter. But I tell you what, I love having him on this staff. I love the fact that he's back here at his alma mater. You know, what we're trying to do is populate this staff with people that are passionate about UConn and passionate about Connecticut football, and he adds tremendous value.
Jim, how much have you wondered about or talked about everything going on in conference realignment? I know everything you're doing now is team specific, but as the coach of an independent program, how much mental energy do you devote to certain possibilities, rumors, anything, you know?
I've tried to limit the energy I spend on it because I can't control it. But you know, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that it's back here, percolating a little bit, because there are things happening and there is so much uncertainty. I think that today, for me, you know, I flipped the switch to it's all about 2023, and I haven't really thought about it today. But yesterday, I thought about it a little bit. You know, I'm like anybody. I'm going to jump on Twitter, and you see the rumors, and you know, I might know a little bit more than some of these people that are saying some things, and so you know, I want to hit the comment and say, you don't know, which you can't do, obviously. But I think it's exciting. I think there's some great possibilities out there. I've stated this publicly that I think that, you know, if we have the opportunity to enter a Power 5 conference, that it not only helps football, but it helps this athletic department, and most importantly, it helps our student athletes because it gives them more resources and more options and a greater platform. And I say that understanding how attached the people here are to the Big East, you know, and the passion for basketball. But you know, I think when I look at it purely as a football coach, I say, of course we want to be in a Power 5. But I also take that hat off and look at it from the perspective of I'm an employee of the University of Connecticut. I think it'd be great for our athletic department and our university. And you know, I think it obviously would require some transition in the thought process of some of our fans that are so emotionally attached to the Big East and going to Madison Square Garden. And I mean, how can you discount 16 national championships of basketball? You have to pay respect to that, and I think we do. But I just feel like, you know, for us as a football program and us as an athletic department in the university, it's if we get that opportunity, you gotta take it. You know, you gotta take it. And I think that we'd all look back in a few years, and every sport would benefit from it. Every student athlete on this campus would benefit from it. Every fan would benefit from it. But it would just take a little transition in the way we think.
Coach, how about the transfer portal? There's been some takes there about whether that's a good thing, bad thing. You kind of built up the program last year with it, and then we saw this year people leave the transfer portal and the NIL. Would you like to see regulation? Do you like the current format? What's your take?
God, I haven't given it much thought lately because it was kind of over for us. With regards to the portal, I think that there's certainly some real positives, and I think there's some dangers. You know, the positives are as a team, you can quickly improve depth. You can add experienced players. You can add players that are more physically developed than freshmen. I think that it can be dangerous in that if you're building a culture, sometimes the portal's like speed dating. You know, someone's really attractive to you until you get to know them better, and then maybe they're not as attractive. And when you're recruiting high school players, you get to know them when they're very young. You know their families well. It's a long, drawn-out process before they sign with you. So you have a better feel for how they're going to fit into the culture you're trying to building. And from the player perspective, you know, the ability to improve their position in terms of building their professional career, I think it's a positive. But I think the danger is that all of a sudden, you know, you see so many kids that go into the portal and they don't find a home. And I think that, you know, that's dangerous. So I think it's working right now for the most part. I think that the NCAA will continue to tweak it. The NIL, it's a reality. It's where we are. I think for us, I can't worry about what other people do. For us, the most important thing is we do it responsibly. You know, we have some collectives that are working with our student athletes, and here at UConn, what we try to do is tie it to a greater good, a bigger cause. You know, community service, things like that. You know, the one thing I think is important to avoid is just creating entitlement. You know, like I deserve that money. No, you have to go earn it, because that's the reality of life. We all know that. We're all working people. So just teaching the right lessons at this age is important. So there's a danger there, but there's also a positive.
You talked about some of the challenges that come with being independent in recruiting and things like that. But how would you assess the group that you're bringing in this year from the portal and from the high school class?
It's a good group. You know, I think that it was. I don't want to say it was easier to recruit, because recruiting's not easy. It's a grind. It's a process. You know, and you have to really, you have to stay on it constantly. But our ability to attract the eyes and ears of better players was certainly enhanced, you know, this year. But we still heard the same thing with certain guys. You know, we love it here. We love the people. We love the facilities. Boy, this place is so different than I ever thought it would be. But I've got this Power 5 offer, you know, and not to regress, but, you know, if we're in a Power 5, we're not going to hear that anymore. And I think that'll help us. But yeah, I think you look at this field, the field we're on right now, you go in Burton Shankman, and these are top flight facilities. You guys have been around the country. I've been around the country. These are great facilities. And then more importantly, it's the people in the facilities that I think make it, and not just the football facilities, but the athletic facilities. And this campus is gorgeous. So recruiting's getting, I don't want to, using the word easier is not right. It's just we're attracting maybe more talented players.
What do you think of the next incremental steps of progress for Jackson Mitchell, who has been so good for you? How will he be even better now?
Well, he knows the scheme now after a year. You know, I think for everybody last year it was a new scheme, offensively and defensively. And so when you're learning something new, that creates a little bit of hesitation. It just does. Even if you're an instinctive player like Jackson and a smart player like Jackson and a dedicated guy who's going to study his tail off, there's still just a slight hesitation. And now he's doing the same things over and over and over and over and over, and he's doing it at a high level. And so I think that'll just, you know, if that gives him the inch he needs to make a play that maybe he didn't make last year, that's how it's going to help him. You know, he's an incredibly hard worker. This is very important to him. He's a great leader. He's a great teammate. He's a hell of a player. And if he can feel comfortable doing what he's doing so that it's just instinctive reactions, then he's going to be that much better than he is, which is pretty darn good already.